So now I can go live when with the countdown timer running, not worry about if anybody is watching or is it live yet, not worry,
Right.
not having that awkward moment there where it's like, am I live yet? Am I live yet?
Awkward.
Yeah, by the way, people can hear us now as we're doing this because this video has no audio. So here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to StreamYard TechTalk, the weekly show where we go beyond the normal application of live streaming and live shows and actually talk about the geeky stuff, the people who love to do crazy stuff with streaming and how far can we push the envelope with StreamYard. I see you've already got a couple of people with us. Tell us where you're from. What are you doing these days? We've got a great guest today, a good friend of mine, Chad Illa Petersen. He is known as a story catcher, and he's a show producer and a creative agency. He does really creative work. He's got an amazing sense of humor, and he puts his heart and soul into his shows. We produced a show together, and I really wanted to bring him out and show a little bit of behind the scenes. I call him the greatest producer on earth of the worst show ever, and so we'll be able to dig a bit into that. So if you're new to Tech Talk, this is a kind of show where we take a very simple and easy to use tool and show how you can do really complicated stuff with it. Meet us back right after the intro here. Welcome, Chad, to Tech Talk, and welcome to working in the simple environment of StreamYard only. So,
Oh,
how you
no,
doing?
StreamYard is the bomb. Huge fan of StreamYard, so I'm glad to be here. It's not like I don't spend enough time with you already.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lily. Yeah, we spend a bit of time together. We have a lot of fun during our show. So let's open by first of all telling a little bit about the show and what is it that we do in the show, and point just saying a little bit of just pointing out the StreamYard pillow you've got there on the back. So great. Looks
Yeah,
like you're a
I'm like
StreamYard
all decked out. I've got this.
VIP.
I'm here. I just haven't done the tattoo thing. That's not quite there yet.
True story about that tattoo. Yeah. We got lots of people here. Awesome. Love the engagement. So get your questions ready. We're going to be talking about OBS and StreamYard together. We're going to be talking about advanced audio. Excuse me, everybody, and a lot of creative stuff. So, Chad, why don't you talk a little bit about what the show is, what is it called, and how you set it up?
All right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll tell you what, first of all, let me tell you guys out there that Subpalucid is completely Daniel's fault, not mine. So I blame him. The actual story behind it is, to get a little personal, I was actually down in the dumps a little and feeling a little low, and Daniel noticed it and reached out to me, just said, hey, you interested in doing maybe a live show or some project together? Because he felt like maybe if I had a project that we could do together, maybe it would kind of lift my spirits. And so I said, yeah, let's try something. And the idea behind it was, I'll do a live show with you, but it has to be fun. It can't just be regular old talking heads. I don't want it to be about marketing or something that you can Google. I just want it to be completely different from everything else out there. And so we kind of put our heads together, mixed some technology with StreamYard, and just came up with some just fun stuff. And that's the name, Subpalucid. We always get asked what it means, so I'll throw that one out there. In the marketing industry, everyone always likes to throw these buzzwords out there, and one of those is that you have to be authentic and you have to be transparent. And I always thought, nobody's actually transparent. Not completely. So I started looking up other words for transparent, and one of them was pellucid. And a version of the word stood out, and that was subpellucid, which basically means not quite transparent. But Daniel, I think you'd agree at the end of the day, Subpalucid may be one of the most transparent shows out there.
Yes, well, it's definitely a different kind of show. So let's, I'm going to show here a couple of screenshots of what the kind of stuff you've been doing, and just to show what is the possibility with StreamYard and taking it to the next level when you add something like OBS. So if you look at this crazy layout here, right? This is a layout where we had a guest over, Nick Nemeth, a good friend of StreamYard here. And he was, and we put him on a podium. Chad put him on a podium, right? And we interviewed him. So very different layout, custom made, right? And you made this simply by creating, like, you just created the graphic with sort of semicircles in it that are transparent, right? That's
so actually, OBS lets you put a filter on your camera source. So one of those filters is a mask. So you could take any shape and put it over the camera source as a filter, and it will mask or cut out these weird, like you and I look like somebody popped the lenses out of a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. I love that metaphor. Okay, yeah, and actually, Delilah, hold on to that question. I'm going to demonstrate something in just a second for you, okay, about cell phone usage and so on. Here's another thing we did, and you can notice here, I just took this screenshot quickly from our YouTube recording. So you can notice here a custom layout, really cool one. I like it. And we have two speakers kind of in the center, and then somebody else kind of in the background a little bit, in this case, Chad. And you can see the StreamYard comments below. So that's really cool. You can also see it here. And this one's even more amazing, where you have the famous elevator, where we give our guests 60 seconds to get in the elevator, give their pitch, and then the elevator door closes and they're in, right? So just showcasing here the example of using.
Yeah, the guests really like that. They like when the elevator opens, and I don't know why, they feel like, I guess they're really getting to go inside. And then the as the floors go up, the little timer there moves, and yeah, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. So that's the whole point of the show. You put in a ton of hours into it as well, right? How much time do you spend producing each show like this, each episode?
Each week, I probably put 5 hours into it on occasion, depending on what we're doing. It's my playground. It's my place to just have fun.
Yeah. Some people are liking this. Good, fancy, and good and looking cool. People are liking it. Yeah. Kuwait, great, cool locations. We've got people from all over the world. Montreal, another international.
Hey, Laura. I see Laura there.
Laura's in the. Now, I wanted to quickly showcase something, so deviate a bit from the topic and just showcase something here quickly. And because who was it who was asking here about mobile phones? And I just wanted to showcase here. Delilah. Thank you, Chad. Now, let me just get this back in focus. Here we go. So you can actually stream. Come on, focus camera, please. Please, right there. Well, what you can do when you're managing StreamYard, you can actually use it right off your phone or tablet, and you can actually manage the comments with the tablet. It's actually kind of easier like this. You see, it's kind of faster. So I can do this like really quickly and just hop in between everything. You can also do it on the portrait mode. It looks a bit different, but this is really cool.
It's not an app though. They have to open up a browser source.
Just in a browser.
It has to be a browser, right? So they have to open it up on like Chrome on your phone, and go to StreamYard there.
Yeah, Safari, Chrome, whichever. And you can actually log in, as you see I'm doing, at the same time in both of these with the same user. And Chad is actually logged in under the same user as well. So the three of us are managing or producing the show from three different places at once, and we can all do different things. So one of the idea of having a separate screen or a separate iPad to manage the show is I can have, say, the comments tab opened on my iPad while I have the brand tab opened on my laptop, and I don't have to switch between them. I can just kind of quickly take the different functions right there. So just a little tip there, which one of our team members, I think Christian, told me about this, or he said that he uses
Yeah, there
the
was a
iPad on the
comment or
show.
a post, like I want to say even yesterday, where somebody was discussing that. So
yeah, and I do have an ATM Mini Pro. I actually have the ISO. Okay, great. So let's get back to the show. So let's describe a little bit about what is the purpose in the show of StreamYard and what's the purpose of OBS and how you hook them up together.
yeah. So, all right. So OBS, I know a lot of people say, "Wow, there's a big learning curve and whatnot," and there is, in the sense of as you dig deep, right, and you want to start doing crazy stuff. But to just get going, you could learn it pretty quickly. So the OBS I use to be able to do some of the crazy animations and movements and for the elevator opening and closing and being where I want it. When Daniel showed the layout a second ago that you showed where you and Nick were doing the interview and I was the small guy because Daniel was actually talking at that point. I had that set up so when it was my turn to talk, Daniel and I literally switched places and you saw us move where we wanted to go. So all those things are done in OBS. The videos that we play and we share images of people from their social media and whatnot. All the creative pieces are in OBS, and then they're sent.
Before you continue, maybe just explain, because people are asking, what is OBS? Right? So
OBS. Okay. Open. It's an open broadcast system that what it stands for. If you go to OBS.com, you can check it out. It's free. It's completely free. You can download it. And it's open source. So people from all over the world are constantly creating plugins and new tools and things that can be used in it. So don't get me wrong. There's an online course somebody created for it. It's like 7 hours long, and even it doesn't like dig into all of it. So you can get very deep. But for the sake of just keeping it simple, OBS is where we do all the creative pieces for the show. And then we send it to StreamYard as our camera source. And we do it one of two ways. In the past, we've used the OBS virtual camera, which now on OBS is just in there natively. It used to be a plugin. But what we use now is NDI. So NDI allows you to send video or audio or screen shares, all kinds of different things throughout your own network at home. And there's a plugin for OBS that you just install. And when you turn it on, it takes your OBS screen and turns it into a webcam. So when you go into StreamYard and you select your camera source, you just select NDI as your camera source, and it's going to pull whatever is going on over in OBS. So, and that's what I'm actually doing right now, right? So right now, I put together some things for today's show. They're in OBS, and OBS is sending everything here to StreamYard, and then we send it to StreamYard so we can go to all the different places and stream wherever we want. So all of the comments are there for us. And of course, we use the banners and all the different branding tools and the magic of StreamYard. So the two together are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Rigor is asking, what StreamYard filter are you using for that hat? I think that was a joke. Okay. Yeah, okay. So word of caution, just by the way, if those of you who are not live streaming pros, this is a very complex setup, right? So there were a ton of issues along the way to get this working. OBS is a very complicated piece of software for pros. It's not a solution, it's a technology, the way I like to say, right? And so you have to there's a lot of training involved. and then trying to connect that to other things caused issues. For example, we kept having issues of sound feedback loops between the different guests. So you had three guests on the show, or three people on the show. The speaker from one guest would show up in the would feedback loop through the microphone and back as a circle and just create wreak havoc, right? So lots of different issues there. Why don't
somebody mentioned, by the way, OBS has a virtual camera as well, and Neil, that is correct. The reason I'm using NDI, I've just found that, to me, it seems like the quality of the videos when I use it is send an NDI source instead of the OBS virtual cam. Just seems like it's crisper. I like it better.
Yeah, Melanie asked the exact same question. Good. Yeah. So you can use both. And there is a little delay, right? So we noticed that when we look at the two screens, we can see there's like a second or two delay, but not a big deal. Doesn't really bother anybody, I think, that there's a delay.
Usually if there's a delay, you and I might see it, but normally if you watch the stream, it's pretty tight. And there are ways to adjust that, and you can you can tweak that. So
yeah, John is saying the delay is crazy with OBS. I've heard a lot of people talk about delays. I've never experienced. I'm mostly a StreamYard user. I've never experienced a delay or any kind of effect around that, except maybe when you start the broadcast and you get a little countdown clock, and that takes care of it. There is a delay that's created by definition in any live show, right? Because if somebody's watching your live show right now, and you pause the show for a second, or just leave the application, the YouTube, or the Facebook, walk away, come back after a minute, hit play, it'll continue from where they paused and keep going. It's not true live at that point, right? So so there's always people that are watching, not exactly real time, a little bit behind, and you'll see people that are commenting and they're answering some question you posted or some discussion you posted maybe a minute or two ago. So by definition, there's always delay. It's some sort of delays built in. Yeah, Lillian is saying pause. Yeah, you can pause the video in some platforms, or you could just exit the application and it just pauses it.
Yeah, there's media controls in OBS. So if I play a video on OBS, I can pause it. I can start it over.
Yeah, and here we go. Maybe Stephen is maybe Stephen is watching the show on another laptop, or maybe he's behind us.
So, maybe. And it's not my show. It's Daniel and I. So it's a team effort. So Daniel comes up with some fun ideas, and then I just kind of try to run with them. So somebody else. Yeah, OBS and StreamYard. The delay is really usually not. It's occasional, but for the most part, it hasn't. We've never had anybody like really comment or said, "Man, the delay is awful" or whatnot. Of course, we also do a lot of, in the dance world, what they call it hairography, where there's a lot of hair movement to distract from the bad feet movement. So we do a lot of crazy stuff to distract from all the other crazy things. Somebody else asked how we brought in 3 guests on OBS and then put it into StreamYard. Okay to answer that one, or is that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we use a tool called OBS.ninja that creates custom URLs that we send to our guests. Daniel has his own set one that he uses, and when they log into that, it sends their audio and their video into a director room where I can see and control them, and then I get a custom URL. One of the things in OBS that you can use instead of your camera for your video is a browser source. So you can put a URL in, and that's what will show on the screen. And with OBS.ninja, it takes that URL that's actually showing that person's camera and puts it on the screen. And so we just put all of those there together. And actually, the room, let's see. The director room, I only have one open right now, but it looks like this, right? And so I have a camera right now that's on my mixer, because we'll get to that later. But all these links up at the top are what we send to the guests, and then it lets them join the show. And at Christmas time, we tried to max that sucker out. I think, what do we have? Almost 15 people. But I think we kind of pushed the limits there.
Yeah, that was a catastrophe. That was just, yeah, and actually in that case the delay did show because it was just impossible. Everybody was talking over each other. It was insane. Yeah. We invited some people to join us online, so we'll give you a chance to ask a question live with us. So just jump in here, and you might have to wait in the behind the scenes a bit. In order to be online, your camera has to be on so we can see who's jumping in, so we're not getting any kind of something crazy going on. And and we'd love to feature you as well. So jump in here and ask your questions with us live at the show. Chad, why don't you give us a little tour of your setup and show us a little bit of your hardware there? What have you got going?
I don't know if that's anything like crazy. It's pretty basic. I've got the old school mic. It's a Shure 55. I like it just because the look kind of goes with the, on our show, and the story catcher, the fedora, and kind of a 40s kind of vibe is a thing for me. I use 3 monitors. Technically, I have a 4th small one up here. A lot of times I will put the show there so that I can, depending on where the guest is, if I want to kind of look where they're going, it's kind of just there as a backup, or I could put notes, or if I wanted to, I could use it as a teleprompter, I guess. But it's right next to the camera. A good old-fashioned Stream Deck here down in the corner. That I use for changing the different scenes. Usually, so OBS is over here. Let's see if I can zoom out. So move my head. Ta-da. OBS is here, and it's coming into StreamYard here in the middle. So, and then over behind my shoulder here, I've got a Zoom Track L12. And a Zoom U24. That's a mixer. They're audio interfaces, and those are pieces that we kind of put together to help us figure out some of the crazy things that were going on with the show, and we were having all kinds of crazy audio issues. So there's just a little look at the mixer, and we can go into how it's all laid out, but it looks like you have a couple people that kind of want to come on. I will tell you guys, there's a good chance you're going to ask me something, and I'm not afraid to tell you I have no idea. So
okay, yeah, there we go. So that's exactly the point. Yeah, just to give you a sense of what it takes to produce a show that's as creative as that, and using all of these different tools. That was a great glimpse into that. Thank you, Chad. Yeah, let's bring on Serenity now. And
hello, guys. Hi, guys. I kind of have an OBS question, but not really. But I was just wondering if you guys were ever going to add more advanced features to the audio section, where you can give guys that have better equipment the ability to adjust compression on our own and noise gate and stuff like that. That's my biggest concern, because the sound that I get when I use OBS and when I use StreamYard is completely different. And I know you guys have that in the background, working in the background, because it's just a checkbox. Pretty much, it's just a checkbox. I don't know what your settings are. So, is that something maybe down in the future where you'll have an advanced tab for someone to click that has better equipment that can play around with those settings on their own?
Yeah, so helping with that, we'll have actually very, very soon, we're releasing a feature of the ability to download separate soundtracks. So you'll just get the raw sound from each individual guest. So that should be, and then you'll be able to manipulate that in any kind of sound editing software you want.
Oh, for your guest. Yeah, I mean for myself. So if I'm on there by myself, an advanced tab in the audio section where I can click and have my own, I don't know, you use OBS, right? So you see that you can make those adjustments with the compressor and the noise gate on your own, and kind of customize your sound. I was wondering if that, is that a feature?
Yeah, it's not on the roadmap right now, but it's definitely it's something you can request for sure. We have a town hall on Sunday nights with Dan and Gage and the founders, and you can just bring it up. That's where we get most of the feature roadmap from is there. is from basically what people ask us to create. So that's a place to voice that. Here we just interview guests and
it's simple. It's simplified.
Yeah,
it's simplified. I like that, especially for when I bring on my guests. They don't have to download any plugins. They don't have to look for drivers. They don't have to do any of that stuff. But sometimes it's just, one person's louder than the other, and it would be really nice to be able, as the host, kind of control that audio from your guest and yourself, just to customize it, to make it your own. Because I know I sound completely different when I record something on OBS than I do when I get on here on StreamYard. I sound completely different. And I would like to get that same audio quality that I'm getting from OBS here on StreamYard, especially when I'm live. That's my only question, but I love the program. It's the easiest thing out there. I've run 3 shows and I have no issues with software, and I can focus on content creating and not have to focus on this program. I know it's going to work and I don't have to worry about it. And my guest, I think I got you like 4 customers in the last 2 weeks because they're just like, wow, this is so easy to use. That's it, guys. Thanks again for all you guys do, man.
You're very welcome. Thanks for hopping on. Okay, awesome. I love that.
Marissa was down there. She disappeared on us.
She disappeared.
There was a couple questions. One, the camera behind me, somebody was asking. That is actually a phone. That is my phone. And there is an app called NDI HX that you put on your phone. And if you go to ndi.tv, you can download their tools on your computer. And because they're on the same network, in this case, the Wi-Fi, because the phone's wireless, obviously, I can pull my phone in as a camera source. So, but I pull it into OBS. That's the thing. I pull it into OBS, then I'm setting it to StreamYard. So that's what's going on there. The other camera angle, and I only did it so that we could show both. The one that was showing the mixer, that is my other phone, and it is actually connected using OBS.ninja. So you can see that I wanted to be able to make sure we could show both. So I'm using OBS.ninja for one phone, but I'm using NDI for the other. I don't have to. I could use both for either, but that was, somebody had asked about that. So.
By the way, everybody, we will have another show about OBS and StreamYard next week with another case study of using OBS. So we'll dive in more deeply into that, I think, as well. That should be a good show. I'm sorry, that was Marissa. A lot of questions here in the background. And another thing, the bit.ly I created here is case sensitive. So if you're trying to get in and you haven't managed, check your case, the case there. Okay, we had a bunch of questions. I'm trying to grab them. Lots of people like to ask about cameras and microphones. What mic are you using? Tell us about, why did you pick that mic?
Well, I picked the mic. With the reviews I had on it, the sound was still good for what we're doing. But there was a visual. I'm a creative. I'm a visual guy. And just from my branding, like today I have my hoodie on, but normally, I've got kind of a 40s style 3-piece suit. And that's kind of the vibe of the story catcher. It's kind of old school. So that's why this particular mic. The Zoom, the mixer, there were different reasons, just because of the ability to do what it does as both a mixer and a USB audio interface. So one of the problems we had for a long time, and somebody brought up voice meter. NDI HX can lag a bit, but for the most part, I haven't had any problems with it, Neil. Somebody asked about voice meter. So we were using, there's an app, a tool you can put on your computer called voice meter, and it's like a digital mixer. And you can use virtual audio cables that allow you to send different sources on your computer to different places. So I could use a virtual audio cable A for my microphone and send it to OBS. And I can use virtual audio cable B to send my audio from Chrome to wherever I want that to go, maybe to my headphones. The problem I had, Voicemeeter, we had a lot of issues with audio syncing, with things freezing, glitching, and my gut kept telling me it was Voicemeeter. So that's when I started doing some research, and I had it narrowed down to this mixer and another. And I found a guy who was a musician who hasn't been doing any gigs, so he was selling it like ridiculously cheap. So I went and picked it up. And so when we took the sound and did it this way through the mixer, and you'll see there's a laptop over here. So I use that for the guests. I send the StreamYard feed, also using NDI, into the OBS group so they can see the show. And I send my audio and any videos that we might be playing, because we play a lot of video clips on Subpalucid, usually to embarrass our guests because of dumb things they've done in the past. But send that so they can hear that audio, and that sends over there. So that computer is dealing with all of that. And then their audio just comes into the mixer, into my earphones. But because they are in OBS.ninja, their actual audio goes into OBS, and we all end up in OBS, and we come into StreamYard, and we have a great time. We'd have to draw it out and map it out. Anybody has questions, by the way, feel free to message me.
Is that something you can screen share, the application window for the virtual cables?
Well, the thing is that now we don't even use virtual cables for Subpalucid. We eliminated all the virtual cables.
I use virtual cables in Subpalucid. I have to, otherwise we get a crazy feedback loop. So here's something.
There's a tool
screen here
called Ear Trumpet on Windows, and it lets me, any application that I have open. So like right now, typically my browser, like Chrome, goes back into the mixer, but I'm on Firefox for this show, and I had told Firefox to only send the audio to these are bone condenser, I think is what they call them, earbuds. So see, they're not in my ear, but they're wireless, and because my hair is very gray, you can't see them. But so that's sending to these right here. Where typically for our show we'd have it set up differently.
So I'll share here a bit my virtual virtual cables, and I'll explain why I use them on Subpalucid. I don't have to use them in regular StreamYard at all. But here, let me just show you the screen share here. Oh wait, actually, add to screen. Here we go. So I got this thing called Sound Source, which is an app you buy. It's pretty good. And what it does is simply it maps out every application you have. You can add another one here, right? I could do any application I want, any app. So I can do Spotify and decide where to route it to. So I can send it to my monitor speakers, to my earphones, or to the MacBook Pro speakers, for example, right? And the reason why, and what I do is for Subpalucid, because I have to have OBS.ninja in one browser window and StreamYard in another browser windows, two browser-based softwares. Both of them, I don't want to have the audio coming out of both of them. So I put the audio of one of them, I send it to, say, to some random, to say the LG monitor, and I turn off and I mute it. And then the other one I open in Google Chrome Canary, which is essentially like opening a second Chrome browser. It's the beta version of Chrome, but it shows up as a second. It shows up here as a different device, so I can route that to my headphones, right? And so that way I don't have two competing sounds. It doesn't create that feedback loop. So that's definitely an issue, is that we wanted to deal with when you're doing these complex sound issues. You have to find these creative solutions. This was just one way of the way I did it. So sound source, really good if you've got these kind of issues. Does it have a version for Windows? I believe it might. I'm not sure. I think it might just be. For Windows, there are other virtual cable solutions as well. For Mac, there are fewer. Hey, Dana, I think, is in the audience here. Hey, Dana. Good to have you on my show. Nice. We've got another guest.
Somebody else, by the way, had asked, where was it? To play a pre-recorded video on OBS and StreamYard, do I need to switch the camera? The pre-recorded video is just a media source in a scene in OBS, so you don't switch the camera. You never have to switch the camera in StreamYard. When I come from OBS, everything I do, all of these little, all this, I'm not switching anything at all. You know, in StreamYard, these scenes are switching in OBS and sending the one camera source to StreamYard.
Yeah, and we talked in previous episodes about if you don't have a camera switcher, you can just log into OBS from separate devices. For example, I can just.
By the way, I see Neil coming in. I've been watching Neil's comments, so be gentle, Neil, when you come on.
Okay, here we go. So I can give you a tour of my office space. You see my home office. You can see my setup here. So so that's just a way to do multiple cameras if you are if you don't have a switcher. Really simple. Okay, let's bring Neil on and see what question Neil's got. Hi, Neil.
Hi. Good evening from India. I'm calling from India. And what I use actually, I use a mobile phone connected via an app called iRian app, because I do not have budget for a DSLR and do not have proper lighting also. And I'm using this Boya cheap mic to do the streaming. So I'm new to streaming world, and I've been following you guys quite a bit of time since I got introduced to StreamYard, and I found your software very easy to use. I'm also using OBS. I'm trying different stuff with OBS by myself, and later on, once I get used to OBS, I'll use it in the live streaming as well. But I use mobile phones a lot. So I would like you to do some work so that I can screen share mobile screen while doing streaming from the mobile using the browser, that's the StreamYard browser system from mobile. Also with the screen share option, so that I can show, because I like to talk about Android applications and all. If I can get a chance to share my screen through the mobile, that would have been much better. What now I can also do is, if you can also allow a browser, that I can also do using this StreamYard browser in the desktop by sending my mobile screen as a browser screen using an app called HTTPS Streamer on Android. That way I can show the screen of my mobile phone. But if it can be done within the mobile itself, that would have been much better.
Got it. Yeah, so those are limitations that StreamYard has because it's browser-based on the phone. The phone simply doesn't allow that easily. I wonder if there is a hack around that one can somehow find a way to show screen on the phone.
Yeah, I can refer you to an app called Prism Live, which is an Android app, Prism Live, which allows a browser source to be attached. So that I can use two phones in the same network. In the same network, if I have two phones, one running Prism Live and the other running that app which can show the screen through the HTTP protocol, then I can use that as a browser source in Prism Live. If that similar things can be done with StreamYard, that would have been better.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, well, there's a limit to any software, right? And our goal is to keep it simple, to allow you to have guests on your shows, go live, not focus on
Yes.
technology, focus on the solution. This particular show is for people like us that try to find those tech workarounds and the crazy stuff, and kind of more like crazy use cases. So yeah, this is one I don't know the answer to. Chad, do you have any idea? Is there a way to somehow get the phone screen share through the browser and StreamYard?
I'm not sure. It's not something I've tried to do, so I'd have to play around with it. If I figure it out, I'll let Daniel know so he can get back to you, though. But yeah, I'm not sure. So.
It's nice.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. Let's post it to the.
But overall,
yes,
the overall the StreamYard platform is super cool in my view.
Thank
and
you.
I've recently got one more app called Melon that is also similar to StreamYard. It's from the Streamlabs.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, thanks, Neil. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate the question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, John is asking for two XL t-shirts, shirts. Yeah, we don't have them right now. We'll have to get them. We're expanding our merch as well, so we'll have better offerings as we move along. A few more stuff showing up. So yeah, definitely.
Hey, Daniel,
thanks for that. Yeah.
Let me try something here real quick and see if maybe let's see. I'm gonna try something here.
Try something live. Let's do that. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So just so people can kind of see an idea of what the show looks like when we're doing it. I don't have the audio on right now for it, but this is kind of what Subpalucid looks like.
We can talk over.
We just have this is a scene that we do called Getting to Know You. And we just get to know the guests. But we just have different layouts. This is our guests at their podium. Here's the fun elevator that we mentioned, so you guys can kind of see some of the fun things that we do. The elevator should open if we're lucky, and then this is a chance for our guests to give their little 60-second pitch. So all of these things that we do, that's all there in OBS, and then we send it to StreamYard, and that's what allows us, like I said, to put the different pieces together. Let's see, where is? I guess we're not going to get the elevator opening because I don't know where exactly that was in there, but anyway. At least that way people can just kind of catch a quick glimpse or whatever of it. So, but yeah, it's come along. Somebody asked how long does it take to put together? Look, we've been working on this show. It was probably episode like 16 before we had one that didn't have an issue, right? Because we're goofing around with so many different things. The very first show we ever did, we had Owen Video on. I had no audio the entire time. Had no idea. People are like, your mic's not working. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on. I saw the audio meter. I was new to OBS, and learned before the next show that there was a certain track and a setting that I didn't have set correctly for my microphone, so that when we were streaming, it would go through. So that didn't work. I hadn't upgraded the internet in the house or the computer that I was using. So I just didn't have enough bandwidth. And so in the middle of the show, we just it just stopped. It froze. It disconnected itself. It was a nightmare. So we've troubleshooted one piece at a time. So it's taken a while. Now every week, I spend, I don't know, 3 to 5 hours maybe putting the stuff together.
Yeah, which is a lot of work. And by the way, that kind of thing of having the bandwidth and the computer crash and the show go kaput in the middle, it doesn't happen when you use only StreamYard because it's all browser based, right? You could even I could leave the browser now, just close out the browser and hop back in, and the show would keep going, right? It wouldn't cut off. we have a 10. I think it's a 10-minute cutoff time. So if your computer crashes, the show will keep running, and you just hop right back in, and then your guests can keep going on the show. And in fact, we've done it where I had last week. Somebody was asking me here about, am I hooked up with a landline today? Am I hardwired to the internet? And yes, I am this week. Last week, you could see that I was on Wi-Fi and the quality wasn't good, and they couldn't figure out why. So I restarted the computer, and meanwhile, my guest kept going without me, right? So that's definitely something you can do with StreamYard. But when you're running OBS, which is running on your own computer, any little issue and the whole show is gone. And so that's definitely something to consider when you're running computer-based software to run a show.
Yeah, now we've never, any issues we've ever had have always been audio OBS based or hardware based. We've never had an issue that involves StreamYard ever. It's been the one thing consistent.
The one thing that's never broken, and Nancy also said that she said to leave and let our own guest carry on. So yeah, that happens, and sometimes you have a situation where the guest doesn't show up, and Nancy knows all about that as well. Like, what do you do? How do you run a show without a guest?
But like you mentioned though, it's like everybody out there, if you're new to this, the Neil that was just on, he's using what he has and he's just doing it. And you just do it, and you learn. And I've learned so many crazy things, and it's because things were broken. And for me, the way my brain works is Daniel or I have some idea, and I have this image in my head of what I think that probably should look like, and I start trying to figure out, okay, how can I make that show up on screen and run on our show here in StreamYard, and then I just start finding ways to do it. And I promise you, if you have some kind of image in your head, you can make it happen. But the biggest thing is just start doing it. You don't have to have this whatever setup. You don't have to have those things. When we first started, I had 2 monitors. I didn't have this mic. I didn't have a Stream Deck. I didn't have a mixer. We were having problems with the camera, with my capture card kept freezing up. That was like a ongoing gag on the show. Is Chad's camera froze up, and and it got to the point where Daniel just ignored it because he knew I was just in the background fixing it. It wasn't even called out. It was just like part of the show. So
it's become kind of the show. We've kind of made that part of the show, being very awkward and being very real pauses in the middle of sentences and so on, and we act a bit dumb and stupid, and that's kind of the fun side of it. We have a show tonight, so before we end today, I'll just invite anybody who wants to join. It's a fun show. There's no real point to it other than just having fun with the community and just getting a bunch of the people we all know and are friends with online to know each other a bit better. That's it. There's no promotional side to it whatsoever.
By the way, if you have a question you want to message me, there's my Facebook page for the story catcher. The story catcher, somebody had taken it, so I had to do catcher story, but whatever. But if you want to message me there or wherever, and the show, if they want to watch it, that's our YouTube channel. That's not what that's not the goal. Because
just search up Subpalucid on YouTube.
That's right. Everybody go to that YouTube channel right now and subscribe. We need like 40 of you. There's 55 people watching. That'll get us to the 100 subscribers, so we can change the UK25 blah 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 for UG UG whatever to Subpalucid. But otherwise, if you just go online and search Subpalucid, you'll find it on Facebook. Nobody else uses the word, so
6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, whatever, wherever.
It's an after hours show.
After hours show.
We do it after hours because typically our guests like to have a drink or two before they come on, and we don't blame them.
Good point. Okay, we got one more guest question here before
Awesome.
we close out the show today. So let's see, Tree. Let's bring Tree.
Trey.
Trey, sorry, Trey. Oops. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah,
You're making me
Trey
dizzy.
makes more sense. Hey, Trey.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me fine?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I have two questions. One, I want to know, do you have any place that I can either go or find? I know you have a robust set of layouts. Do you have any place to find either the specs or the templates for actually your layouts? I'm also a designer, so trying to create these kind of set experiences or sets. It's a little bit tricky when I'm trying to take screen grabs and kind of align them. So it'd be a lot easier to do it in that way. Also, so that's one. Two, it'd be great if you can do font weights in the banners. My brand, the font is pretty big and bold, and if we could kind of give me some ways I can work with typography, I would definitely appreciate that. Thank you for the camera days. And so I was hoping to speak to that.
Okay, yeah. So a couple of questions. So one, we do have a guide. We do have them. I don't have it with me right now. I'll try to follow up and post. But customer support have it available. They're like templates for you to use. And if you just message support, either support@StreamYard.com or StreamYard.com/contact, or the little bubble, you'll find it in the dashboard. If you go up to the top right under my account, there'll be contact support in there. So either one, you can always get any of these things from support. They have link available, and I will look it up and try to get it to you after the show. And the second question was about fonts, custom fonts. Yeah, that is something that we're definitely considering to get more ability to brand. It's not, it won't come anytime very soon, but it's definitely something on the roadmap. We're looking to create. I'd say maybe this year. Probably. Yeah.
Trey, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. Everybody wants to know what camera Trey's using.
Yeah.
Because they're like, Trey looks so fine.
Yeah. Let's
so
big screen. Here we go.
So just for the sake of it, I'm using the Canon EOS R with a 50mm lens. I believe, yeah, 50 millimeter lens. I'm going to be fair and honest with you. I actually have a light that goes in the corner here. You don't need the EOS R. You can use like a Canon 50mm. They recently let go of a webcam utility. So for like you can get like a cool short, just a cheap camera. Plot twist, their old cameras work with it as well, and so you get a 50mm for like 100, a little bit more of 100 get it used. Have like a 1.8 on it, so I get this nice little bokeh so that you can't see the stuff behind me, and so it works out. So yeah, EOS, you can get the EOS R if you plan on doing video. Like I actually take it out and do video, but if you want to just use it as a webcam, just focus on just an entry level camera. And the last thing I leave with this, the lens matters a lot more than the camera. So just get you a good lens, and you don't have to spend $1,000 on the camera. Learn
Leticia makes a good point, folks. Just because you have the same setup as Trey doesn't mean you're going to look as good as Trey.
You said it.
So I think I have Canon M50. Yes, that's a perfect setup. So fonts so I actually did a stream this weekend with my daughter, and to Marissa's point, you can I actually have a ATM Mini that I use. You can use the ATM Mini that plugs into HDMI, but with Canon, you don't need the HDMI Mini. You can use it plugs in directly with the USB. And I actually recommend that one. Prior to, I was using the Elgato Cam Link. Using the camera now with the HDMI is going to save you about $150. ATEM Mini is if you're trying to like amp up your presentation style and try to do some things, to do a little bit crazier things with it. I recommend it if you are going to go high hat with it, but it's not necessary. The reason I use StreamYard, believe it or not, is because they take a lot of the processing power off of my computer, so that I don't need the ATEM Mini nearly as much.
Good point. Good point.
So to this, I was streaming with my daughter this weekend, and I using the ATEM Mini, and they treat it as a webcam. And so with the webcam, it pretty much, I have to open up a second browser in here. So instead of it being on the right, it's on the left. I don't know if there's a better way of, instead of being able to share my screen, I have to do it that way. Is there a better option or a better way of bringing in it for, especially, I say that for streamers and video games, is there a better way of bringing our the HDMI feed in than that, or is that just the way we're going to have to do it?
Chad, do you have an answer, or do you have a...
I don't. I'm not an ATEM Mini user. I haven't needed it yet. So I've got 3 cameras running, and I'm switching them just with my Stream Deck. Yeah, I don't know. And even my Canon, I'm using the webcam utility that Canon.
Have you tried to share HDMI feed into your computer yet, or do you kind of just use your browsers for it?
Well, I have another camera that I use on occasion with an Avio from Epiphan, their 4K capture card that takes the HDMI and then converts it to USB into the computer, because the into the computer is going to be the USB, because HDMI just typically goes the one direction. So, but
yeah, I have. I mean, I don't know if I can't answer the question, but I have an ATEM Mini that I use, and I have two different cameras here, which I don't really need anymore because I use StreamYard, and I could just manage without it. But it's a fun tool. It's a fun gadget, and I also have the Cam Link, which I use which now I only use for the ATEM Mini out, so I can go out through either USB 3 or HDMI. So if I switch my input here to HDMI, actually, here we go. Then you can see me just like that, or you could see me as the view from here. So I could choose either one. But frankly, it's just for fun and games. I don't really need it at all. And yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I use it. But yeah, other than that, I don't know any other way to connect an HDMI output to the computer direct. The new cameras that are coming out nowadays have a USB-C connection directly from the camera to the computer. But I haven't found a camera that has, I think maybe the Sony S7 or Alpha 7 IV, I believe that one. It's like $1,500. That one has the USB-C connection, and it has the autofocus continuous. So with a clean output.
Yeah, the Canon that we have, they've been coming out with the USB-C with the USB-C thing. So I've actually been using that. So I'll say this: in the journey to get to here, I've done a bunch of different setups, and my sister actually was one of the people that helped me find you, and I started off with learning how to use OBS, especially OBS on a Mac, was whooping my computer's tail. And so, I'm not gonna go crazy, Dad and Cam, and trying to do eCam and trying to get those things going on. It was whooping my computer's tail. And one of the things that I found out that made this a lot easier for me was it took the processing power out of it to where I all I had to worry about was my cameras over here, sharing my screen over here. Anything I need to do hardcore, like I said, I pulled to the ATM Mini if I need to do any of that. But more so, when it became time to do like the interview or bring someone else on, I didn't have to ingest that on my computer. The back end went to there. So it was like, here's a link. You use this. We kind of go through the setup and everything via there. But the fact that my computer wasn't doing the beast, I have a pretty fairly not expensive MacBook Pro, not a new MacBook Pro, and so the fact that y'all put it there, it's doing wonders. Like I said, I'm going to reach out about the overlays, because that's going to be one of the things that make this is probably one of the last things that I have to work on in terms of presentation. But so far, it's been stellar on my end. So thank y'all.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Great.
it.
No problem. I'm gonna shoot, if you don't mind, I'm gonna shoot my email, if you don't mind, so you can shoot me if the email of the
either ping me, DM me, or
Yep.
or whatever. We'll find out each other. Okay, thanks, Trey.
So
Appreciate that.
Daniel, somebody asked if that was why I use OBS was because of the camera, the ATEM Mini situation, and the answer is no. The reason that I do OBS into StreamYard is because of the ability to do some of the creative things that we do in our show. Here's a great example, right? So like, there's me, right? Like, oh, well, I'm moving around, whatever. So there's I can have it set up so that I automatically have my camera go wherever it is I want me to be while I'm talking about whatever I'm doing. And things like that, the weird circles and shapes and quirky whatnots. That's why we use OBS to go into StreamYard. It's a great deal. I know we covered a lot, and it was probably all over the place.
As very typical for Chad and Daniel. So I think that ends the show today. But as every show, we actually ask people to use the hashtag #LoveStreamYard to win a mug, StreamYard mug. So if you want to throw that in, I didn't post that before, which I should have. If you want to win a StreamYard mug, then comment right now if you're still with us. And we will, and Chad will pick a lucky winner from any of you guys. So yeah, just where's it go? Love StreamYard. Where's it go? Yeah, right there. Just post it in the comments. We've got a few coming up here. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, because just in case there's a delay, etc. Yeah, and some people are using I love StreamYard. Yeah, it's we'll go with that too. It's fine. If we'd use a bot, then we would then it might not pick it up. But we're not. We're doing it manually.
Yeah.
Old school. Yeah,
guys,
so
please feel free. Like I said, though, if you want to message me or you have questions, if there's something I can help you with, I'll do my best to help you understand what we do and how we use StreamYard. And tune in tonight, for the show if you want to kind of see if something goes wrong, because there's always a chance it will.
Yeah. So So okay. So Chad, you want to take a look at the comments and just pick a lucky winner?
Just pick a lucky winner. Wow, there's a lot of comments here with the deal there. So let's go with how about Jasmine Stewart?
Jasmine Stewart. Yeah. Love StreamYard. Jasmine, thank you so much. You're lucky. Congratulations. DM me or just email marketing@streamyard.com with your mailing address, and we'll get it right out to you. So if you want a mug, join any other show. We always hand out little goodies and stuff, or you could go to our merch store and buy one directly. Either one works. But we're always happy to have stuff for you guys here, if it's great content or great mugs, either or hopefully both. So thanks everybody for joining in. Thanks, Chad. Any closing words before we hit that end broadcast button?
Not that I can think of. I tell you, I may later on today, if I get bored or I get caught up, or tomorrow, maybe I'll go live over on my own page and maybe try to just take as much time as I can and step by step go through the exact layout, because we were answering questions, so it kind of took us all over the place. So maybe I'll do that later.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See us next week, same time, same place. Check out the rest of the shows. Make sure to subscribe to whatever channel you're watching or turn on notifications so you can get notifications from all the other shows that we are producing. More and more are coming. So we will see you next week.